Oh, hi everyone. This is Francisco. The reason that I am recording this video is because this is regarding the Donald Trump assassination attempt. So, the Donald Trump assassination attempt, from according to what I've been studying, the news, they stated that the shooter's father sold a weapon to his son, and it was sold to him 1 year prior to the shooting, and my brother, before he went to the army, he bought some weapons and he had to register them under his name. And I think he also had to take some courses, some online classes or something like that. And also, I think that by law, when a weapon is sold, it has to be registered to the person that is buying it. So there could be some type of negligence, like a failure of doing this from the father owning the weapon to the son owning the weapon. And I don't really know how that procedure works, but I'm assuming it's similar to like buying a car and you have a pink slip and you're basically passing down that pink slip. That way, whatever happens thereafter is not your responsibility. For instance, if someone buys a vehicle and they crash it, or they hit other vehicles, or they cause some type of property damages, or whatever the case may be, basically it's releasing that responsibility from the former owner to the new owner. So from what I heard, that the father sold the weapon to his son, and I don't think that the son registered that weapon to himself. And I think that there's a problem with that, with people selling weapons, especially if they were purchased at a gun shop, and then they go and sell them off to people, and basically they become the retailers now, you see. And basically when people do this, they're bypassing the procedures that gun shops have people go through, or go under. Like every single thing that a gun shop would basically have someone go through when purchasing a weapon through them. So there is evidence that the weapon belonged to the father, but according to I think according to his testimony, or once he was cross-examined or whatever by detectives, they figured out that the weapon that the son used was the father's. So there is evidence that the father sold the weapon to the son, obviously. So therefore, there should be some type of consequence for not going about it legally and correctly. Because the weapon has a serial number, and I don't know if the weapon was still registered to his father, but it's obvious that he could have just said, "Oh, I sold it to my son a year ago," just to get out of like further problems. Just to avoid any type of consequences towards himself. But I don't know. I don't know what the law really requires, but I think this is something that all of you out there should take into consideration. From here on out, regarding any weapon, because just imagine people buying weapons just so that they can go and resell them. It just doesn't make sense. So I mean, I can see it like pretty much like buying a vehicle, with the pink slip, and immediately people fill out the paperwork on the actual pink slip, and they mail it off to the DMV. So it will be the DMV's responsibility to investigate not only the weapon, but also the purchaser, if they even qualify to own a weapon. And if they don't, for whatever reason, then that's when police officers could be sent either to confiscate the weapon, that or further information can be sent to the purchaser of the weapon, and take care of more legal stuff on their part. So for instance, the gun stores or people who manage that or take care of that will see that maybe this person doesn't have a license to carry a firearm. Oh, and not just that, but by doing so, um, people will basically be registering this newly purchased weapon from the streets to themselves. So that's when um, the son would have paid fees for having this new weapon, um, and basically for him to register it under his own name. Um, and for instance, if the son were to lose the weapon and someone else were to get the weapon, to get their if they were to get their hands on the weapon, then he would be responsible, right? For leaving it around, or whatever the case may be. I heard that a lot of um, weapon carriers, people that have weapons legally, some of them, sometimes or at times, they put them in the glove compartments of their vehicles or somewhere in their vehicle. It could even be in a case, and sometimes their vehicles are either stolen, or someone breaks in their vehicle and steals the weapons, and other possessions, other goods that they might have had in the vehicle. But the people that own the weapons have a responsibility to report the weapon stolen. Um, and that way, um, the laws, or the people will be made aware of this information, and you know hopefully with CCTV or something like that, cameras and other possible evidence, um, detectives will be able to utilize that to their advantage, to hopefully find the person responsible that broke into the vehicle in the first place and stole the weapon or weapons. Because now there's a weapon possibly in the wrong hands. So, I mean, I think the father wanted to bless his child with the weapon. And yeah, there was always that possibility of him hurting others or himself with that weapon. Um, but I think this is just something for detectives to look into as well, because we are talking about a weapon that was um, legally owned by the father, and then he sold it to his son. Um, so if the father didn't tell or advise his child to register the weapon under his own name, um, then we have a case. We have some type of evidence, not necessarily towards the shooting of Donald Trump, okay, but handling um, and selling the weapon in a, like, in a way like a careless manner, I guess we can say. But I don't really know all the facts. I don't know all the details, all the evidence. I don't I don't understand too much about gun laws and things of that nature. But that's why I'm pretty much just passing this information down to those who may it may concern, because um, I've been listening to a bunch of these videos regarding Donald Trump attempted assassination, and I know that other people died um, there at the rally, and I think it was Pennsylvania, the county or city of Butler. Um, so this is some very serious stuff, and I mean, they did bring up the fact that it was a different case. They brought up a different case, and they were basically using that case um, to speak about this new case with the Donald Trump case. Yeah, the Donald Trump shooting at the rally. And anyway, so they said that there is a minor that had possession of the parents' weapon or weapons and went into a school and shot students with it. And the parents were actually arrested because of that. But according to the news and other videos on YouTube and stuff like that, they didn't arrest the parents because he was considered an adult, because he was already 20 years old, and according to the father's testimony, he sold the weapon to his son a year prior. So he was 19 when he purchased when he had possession of the weapon, when he purchased the weapon. So the father had a whole year to report the weapon and to advise his child, his son, to register the weapon under his own name. That way, if something were to happen with that weapon and his son, he wouldn't be held responsible for it. Right? It just makes sense for the father to also be responsible, and to have his son have the weapon registered under his own name. Now, I don't really know if the weapon was registered under his son's name. That was never mentioned. All I know, according to the statements through YouTube, is that the father sold the weapon to his son a year prior to the shooting. Whether he registered the weapon under his own name or not, I'm just not aware of. So, for those of you who are studying and investigating this case, I think this is something you people can look into, because I think, according to the news and stuff, the father had or has like 20 weapons registered under his name. And I remember my brother, before, like I said, before he went to the army, just recently, um, he told me that every year you have to register the weapon under your own name. No matter how many you could have one or 1,000 weapons, and you have to register each one. You have to like basically re-register it every single year. Um, and even that, I don't know if the weapons in that household were re-registered weapons or not. So that's also something to look into. Um, because there's a possibility that the father could be lying, that he sold the weapon to his son. Um, but even if he isn't um, lying, there's still other things to consider. Um, and I think that you detectives have every right to look into this and to investigate, because his son was living at the home at the time. So you guys have reason to have some type of search warrants and authorization within the home, especially since this person didn't just shoot at anyone. He shot at Donald Trump. And you guys are all aware that he was the president at one point in his lifetime, in his career. So this is some very serious um, uh, like, I don't know, it's just a serious case, and I don't know, I don't really know all the legal terminologies to use and all that, but um, I'm sure you people can look into it further, because like I said, I have been studying a little bit. I've been listening. um, and I think that there should be some type of well, I just think that there should be more from this point on. There should be more smart cameras on site, because for a lot of reasons, but the the smart cameras, they're connected with AI technology, okay, and they can detect weapons, and they can actually report them. So when someone was recording, it should have AI technology should have been able to scan that weapon and report it to the Secret Service in real life time, instantly. And there's also facial recognition, and the shooter wasn't dressed like one of the police officers, like in uniform. like this, or um, even after, like this, when these guys came out, like with their uniforms and stuff like that, with their helmets. Um, so there's different things that AI technology can pick up to help you guys in the future. So from what I heard, they said that there's cameras now that can pick up signs of a weapon, and the cameras will instantly report um, the weapon to to the police. So when the shooter was, you know, I think the saying is bear crawling. When he was bear crawling on top of that roof, um, I mean it's obvious that according to some of the to some of the people, some of the audience, Donald Trump's fans that were at the bottom, and they seen him, they recorded him. Um, all of that data from cell phones and everything, especially when we are dealing with a you know presidential type of security system or rally or whatever, whether it's a former president, a real president, or former president, like it doesn't really matter. um the footage from the cell phones should be connected to some type of security, like office or network. And yeah, as soon as the weapon was recognized, um it should have been reported to the Secret Service personnel, and the smartphones should have picked up some type of GPS coordinates so that the snipers um, would know exactly where the shooter was, or potential shooter. Um, you know, as I'm theorizing and hypothesizing the way that this um, AI technology security stuff will work in the future, because I don't know if it works like that right now, but I would assume that it would work like that. Donald Trump assassination um, attempt, witness recordings. Well, I'm trying to get a picture of of like the video, or part of the video, when the shooter was up on the roof line. Because um, there was a weapon that was visible. See that? So AI technology should have, you know, created that horizontal rectangle, and it should have specified rifle. And you guys can tell from his clothing that he wasn't a police officer. So AI technology should have easily and effortlessly detected him as a possible threat. Um, and this target could have been neutralized before even opening fire, or or police officers could have been sent over there to see what's up with him, and to see what the heck he was up to. But if he was armed with the weapon out, um, and these cameras are looking directly at him, AI technology should have enough sense to send the Secret Service not only the coordinates but the type of rifle, and immediately start investigating who this person is with facial recognition, um, and a bunch of other things. Because look at, yeah, it was right here, hours before shooting, and they were saying the witness is down here because right here he's on top of the roof, and they were shouting out, this there's a man up there with a weapon, there's a guy up there with a gun, he has a gun, this and that. um so if AI technology were to pick up that weapon, with its scanning capabilities or abilities, yeah, the Secret Service would have had a better advantage that day. And a lot of videos stated that Donald Trump got very lucky because he turned his face to look at the board. There's a board to his right, and when he turned, the weapon, I mean the bullet, like I think it grazed his ear, or it went through his ear and out the other side, but the bullet didn't hit his face or his scalp, or his his, yeah, his scalp, his brain or whatever. But they were saying that if he wouldn't have turned his face, um the doctors were saying, and other investigators were saying that the bullet was off by, I don't know if it was an inch or a few centimeters, but they're saying if that bullet would have, I mean, if his face would have been just a little bit tilted in some way, he would have died on the spot, possibly. It would have been a worse case for sure, and he would have been in more critical condition. And yeah, I just think that these are just little things that I think you people should be made aware of, and not only that, but to look into further. Um, not that I want to attack the shooter's father or his family in any way, or for him to, get arrested or penalized or whatever the case may be. Um, I just think that it's just common sense to look into these things, into these matters, especially from a professional standpoint. I already acknowledged that I don't know a lot of things about weapons, okay? I don't know the laws regarding weapons. But for those of you who are professionals, it should be a no brainer for you guys to investigate this further regarding the weapons. Um, and I think they even speculated if the son had access to the other weapons that are in the household. Um, so yeah, like it could have been it could have been much worse. Um, the son could have easily, if he had access to the other weapons in the household, he could have easily taken like all of them and loaded them up. I think he had a van or a truck, um, and they were saying that he had like explosives in there or something like that, and they said that he had a drone. Um, so he could have easily um, stockpiled all the weapons in the truck, in his vehicle. So when he was done with the shooting, he could have easily ran to his vehicle and used the other weapons, possibly. Um, and we know that he was shot by the Secret Service people, these police officers, whoever they are, doesn't even matter. But they shot him with one single bullet after he opened fire, and he shot like 7 or 8 rounds. No, 7 or 8 bullets. So yeah, I just wanted to get this out of my mind, and share this information with all of you. Um, because I just think it's very important, because these guys they're debating this stuff in courts. Um, they have legal like proceedings and stuff like that are going on. Um, and they want people interviewed. They want witnesses. They want people cross-examined and a bunch of other things. And they said, we don't want this done in weeks. We want it done within days. Um, so, they're not, fucking around. They're really trying to get to the bottom of all of this stuff. Um, so yeah, I think the case could be um, the case could be um, the case could become more um, involved with the father selling the weapon or weapons to his son. But as far as I know, it was just one weapon, the rifle that that he used for the shooting, that was collapsible because he put it into the backpack, and witnesses, people, couldn't see the barrel sticking out of the backpack. So this was a it was a pretty powerful assault rifle. I think it's an assault rifle. Okay, I don't know if it's just a regular rifle, like to go hunting in or something. But it sounds like it was something that's top of the line. And they even said that the firing distance of that weapon is pretty is pretty like what's the word, like I don't know, it could just travel pretty far, like yards, a few hundred yards, once it's shot. So I mean, this was like the perfect weapon for the shooter to use in this case. And why wasn't why wasn't he sold just like a regular little handgun, a little 22 or 9 millimeter, or even a 45? It was a full blown you know rifle. And I think it's a, like I said, I don't know a lot about guns, but I think it could have been an assault rifle, you know. And I think it even has the 3 burst option. So as soon as you pull the trigger, 3 bullets are coming out, almost simultaneously. You know. So, I mean, this weapon was like, it was perfect for the job. Unfortunately. So, um, yeah, I think that's just something for you investigators to look into. And I did notice other images online where there's like another possible shooter next to the actual shooter that did the actual shooting. I don't really know what's up with that. I don't really know whatever happened to those people, or if those images were fake. But there was 2 people, the shooter and another person, and they were posing. It appeared like they were posing, and there was a camera or someone taking a picture of them. Um, so there's just a lot to look into, but I think for now, all I really wanted to talk about was the fact that that the father did sell the weapon to his son, and they were saying the news were they were saying that the father will not be held responsible because the son was already an adult. But if that weapon was never removed from his own registration under his own name, um, and so I don't really know, you know, what would happen thereafter, or what should happen, um, or if the gun was registered to the son. Um, but either way, if the weapon was not registered to the son but was in fact registered to the father, um, that's when the father should have said, well, my son came in here and stole it. He took it without my knowledge. He should have said something along those lines. Um, if he felt like his son stole or took possession of the weapon without his consent, because now it's also um, you know, him not storing his weapons, correctly and responsibly. So it's also like a form of either penalizing him or um, or I don't know, or for you people who are in the in the gun industry, to make new laws, regarding these type of situations, because I mean, if someone owns a weapon and someone goes into your home and takes that weapon and shoots people with it or someone with it, I mean, what type of consequences are there for not storing the weapon or weapons, like you know like the rule book um teaches, or advises, or whatever the case might be. um so um I mean, and why even have all those weapons to begin with? I mean, they say it's a constitutional right or whatever to bear arms. I think it's the ninth amendment, if I remember correctly. But I heard that he had 20 weapons, or he has 20 weapons in his household. And you know, detectives and witnesses and interviewers and the police, whatever, they did say that the father has been he has been cooperative. He's been cooperating with the detectives that go there, and possibly the secret agents or whatever. Um, so, I mean, it's just something to look into, because I mean, it's very um, annoying and frustrating not knowing the real facts. Um, but that's why I'm saying, these are good things to look into and to investigate, because once you guys do this, um, you guys will have a better understanding of what transpired a year prior to the actual shooting. And this is very important information. And I think that since this 20-year-old that shot at Donald Trump, since he did shoot at him, I think that, like, the FBI will do a thorough, at least 10-year history of his life, including the father now, because the father stated that he sold a weapon to his son. So I think that, and I'm not a detective. I'm not in the Secret Service. I'm not a police officer or whatever. But since the father sold the weapon to his own son, I think you guys have reasonable, like, doubt or whatever, and reasonable cause, probable cause to, like, all that stuff, to look into the father's life as well, and to investigate that as well, because the son was living there. It would have been different if his son was living in a different home and he purchased the weapon from the father. It would be a little, things would have been, it would have been different. But since he was living there at that home with his parents, yeah, I think all that stuff should be conducted. Oh yeah, and they did say that he had a drone, and was that footage stored in an internal, like, memory chip, or was it an external one? And was that footage ever released to the public? Question mark. Because they said that the Secret Service people, the investigator said that that he had a drone and that he used it prior to the shooting to get a bird's eye view of the surrounding area. I think, like, a few 100 feet away from the actual rally, but close enough to get a visual. Was that recording of the drone released to the public? I don't know. I think since it involves the case, I think it's very important. Especially if someone will be making a documentary later on regarding this shooting, because that drone footage could actually be used, like in the beginning of the video, to get a better visualization and idea of what the shooter was thinking, and things of that nature. Um, but yeah, I'm going to end this video. If I have other um, information, or um, if something else comes up as I study and listen to the audio of these, like the ongoing investigation of this case, um, I will um, post it up online, through YouTube, or I'll just share, some form of, I'll just post a comment or something in the comment section. I wanted to do that instead of recording, but I think I just felt like there's just too much information, and then not just that, but I would have to go and find the statements where they said that the weapon was sold to the son. The father sold the weapon to the son a year prior, and that he used the same weapon uh, um, in the shooting. And there's just too much stuff. So I think just this video alone, you guys can connect it wherever it needs to be connected, according to the timeline, and according to, like the case. So you guys can put everything together and make sense of everything. But yeah, I'm going to end this video. Thank you all for listening, and God bless. God bless America.